For more on this, let's bring in the Independent Women's Forum senior policy analyst, Patrice Lee-Onwuka, and contributor to The Hill and author of the new book, How Do I Tax Thee? Kristen Tate. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning.
Patrice, let's start with the issue, of course, of what's going on with Haspel and Pompeo. Rand Paul saying that he will oppose these nominations. We have a Secretary of State that needs to be put in place, but is Pompeo going to have a problem getting cleared?
I don't think so. I mean, right now, Republicans have a lead in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And so even if Rand Paul is a no on that nomination, it's still possible for there to be a tiebreaker with Senator Corker being that tiebreaker. So, I mean, I think it's possible that he will get through the nomination process.
Yeah, because we're at such a crucial time, of course, with the upcoming meeting with North Korea. And, Kristen, that is one of the things the Wall Street Journal talks about this morning, that because the president is got this upcoming meeting with Kim Jong-un, possibly in May, that he really wants to get his cabinet shifted around. He's hinted to that, but this is almost a major shakeup at once, a cleaning house, if you will, between Sessions, Rod Rosenstein. There's talk about what Ivanka and Jared's future are.
That's right.
Kristen, all of this seems to me to be a risk to diplomacy for the U.S.
It might pose a little risk, but despite what the media is telling us, I don't think that all of this turnover is necessarily a bad thing. Remember, Trump is not a politician. It's going to take him a while to put together a cabinet that functions like a well-oiled machine and represents the platforms that he ran on as president. Steve Bannon once said that Trump's original sin was letting the establishment take over his personnel, people like Reince Priebus. So I think H.R. McMaster, he's got to be the next person to go. He has a lot of views that conflict fundamentally with Trump's platform. I'll give you an example. From the beginning of his tenure, McMaster has said he opposes Trump's use of the term radical Islamic terrorism. That is a fundamental difference between these two men. So I think, a lot of this turnover might be ultimately a good thing.
Yeah, we're looking at, and obviously the question mark about the chemistry with McMaster, which many say, Patrice, wasn't there from the beginning with the president. Let's talk about White House Chief of Staff John Kelly. Now, that's another question that we've got floating out there because, he just came on board last summer. But it seems to me, and again, the Journal was reporting that this morning, that the president is now finding ways to get around Kelly so he can still talk to his friends. He can still kind of bring in other voices. Do you think that that's a risk for Kelly's job now?
I mean, I think so. When you consider that Kelly was brought in to bring some order and to really control the flow of information going to the president and in the voices that were having an influence on him, that suggests that maybe John Kelly is his days are, it's questionable whether he still has that kind of control over what the president is actually hearing and seeing. I will say just generally when we look at shakeups in the White House, I mean, people are brought in for a specific reason and maybe they serve their purpose and it's time for them to move out. And another issue, though, is that there have been some high-level profile examples of cabinet members who have been caught up in scandals, particularly financial scandals, in terms of how money is being spent. And I think Shulkin is a really great example of that. And so if we want to have fiscal discipline and take that to the agencies, the leaders have to model that as well.
The Inspector General's report that exposed that spending by Shulkin certainly did not go over well, we're told, in the White House. And again, Fox News has been reporting that extensively. Real quick, Kristen, on the issue of Lawrence Kudlow, Larry, as of course we all know him from his TV days. What do you make of him stepping into the role of the National Economic Council Advisory role? Do you think that this is a good move? And do you think that we are going to get more movement on maybe tax reform, a.k.a. Gary Cohen 2.0? Cohen, excuse me.
Absolutely. I think it's a great choice. Cheryl, you mentioned before chemistry. Chemistry is so important. We need people who get along with the president and share his vision for the country. We could be looking, as you mentioned, at a 2.0 tax reform, which could make the personal tax cuts permanent because right now they're set to expire in 2025. So this is very exciting. We may have another exciting year ahead of us for Republicans. But of course, what they'll be able to get done could be limited by the Senate Democrats, who have made it clear that their sole purpose is to obstruct any progress.
Well, in the midterms, I mean, it's campaign season. It's kicking in now. Patrice, Kristen, lots of cover. It's never boring. Thanks for getting up with us.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you.